You roll out of bed, and that familiar ache greets you before your feet even hit the floor. Your knees crack. Your hips feel like they rusted overnight. You think, well, that's just what getting older feels like, right? But what if I told you that one of the supplements you're faithfully taking each morning in the name of joint health could actually be making your pain worse? Yes, worse. And the second one, let's just say, big marketing sold it as a miracle, but studies now suggest it may accelerate cartilage breakdown in seniors. Today, you'll learn the two popular supplements that may be silently damaging your joints, and what you should be taking instead to soothe pain, support mobility, and get back to doing the things you love. Let's walk through it, step by step. Harold is 67. He's a retired postal worker with a wicked sense of humor and a stubborn streak. For years, he swore by two over-the-counter supplements, one for joint cushioning and another for bone strength. He never missed a dose. But despite his consistency, Harold's knees kept stiffening. His fingers swelled after gardening, and stairs became a dreaded daily battle. At first, he blamed his age, then his diet, then the weather. What he didn't consider was that the very supplements he trusted might be contributing to his pain. And Harold isn't alone. Let's talk about the first supplements, glucosamine sulfate. You've seen it everywhere. In joint support pills at the pharmacy, on late-night TV commercials, and even, believe it or not, in supplements for dogs. It's been praised for years as the go-to solution for achy knees and aging joints. Doctors have recommended it. Neighbors have sworn by it. And it's easy to believe it's a safe, natural way to protect your cartilage. In fact, glucosamine is naturally found in the fluid around your joints. It helps build cartilage and keep everything cushioned and smooth. Sounds good, right? But here's the twist. Many supplements targeted at seniors don't stop at glucosamine alone. They go further, combining glucosamine sulfate with chondroitin sulfate in what they call maximum strength formulas. It sounds impressive. But for older adults, that megadose combination may actually backfire. Let's break it down. Recent systematic reviews from the Cochrane Library, one of the most respected independent medical research organizations, have found that results on glucosamine's effectiveness are, at best, inconsistent. But even more concerning is what's starting to show up in long-term observational data. High doses of glucosamine chondroitin may increase systemic inflammation in some individuals, especially those over 60 with slower metabolisms, poor gut function, or insulin resistance. Why does this matter? Because inflammation is the very thing we're trying to reduce when we take joint supplements. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline, and it gets worse. Glucosamine can interfere with blood sugar regulation. In people with prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, or metabolic syndrome, all common among adults over 60, this can mean higher fasting glucose, insulin spikes, and increased fatigue after meals. That morning supplement you thought was helping your joints. It could be silently causing the very stiffness and swelling you're trying to prevent. Just think about Harold again. He took glucosamine every morning for 5 years, never missed a day. But his knee pain didn't improve. It got worse. He started feeling puffy, sluggish, and frustrated. He blamed aging, of course. But the truth was sitting right there on his kitchen counter, in a shiny little bottle promising joint relief. Let's be clear, not all glucosamine is bad. Some people tolerate it just fine in lower doses. But when combined with chondroitin, especially in high-potency blends and taken daily by someone with slowed digestion or blood sugar issues, it can become a problem. Think of it this way. It's like putting the wrong oil in your car's engine. It still runs, but every mile grinds down the system a little more. And your joints, they deserve better. So, if you've been relying on glucosamine chondroitin every day without much relief, it might not be your age. It might be time for a smarter alternative. Now let's look at the second supplement, and this one might surprise you. It's calcium carbonate. The stuff you were told to drink milk for as a kid, and now, more likely, take in a little white pill every morning. It's probably one of the first supplements your doctor recommended when you hit your 60s, especially if you're a woman concerned about osteoporosis. And that's understandable. Calcium is essential. It helps build strong bones, supports heart rhythm, powers nerve transmission, and even assists in muscle contractions. No bones about it, we need calcium. But here's the part no one really talks about. Not all calcium is created equal. The form most commonly found in over-the-counter supplements, the one in your generic senior multivitamin or those chalky bone strength chews, is calcium carbonate. And here's where the problem begins. Calcium carbonate is cheap, it's abundant, and it's easy for supplement manufacturers to pack into pills. But it's also one of the hardest forms for the body to absorb, especially if you're over the age of 60. Why? Because calcium carbonate requires a lot of stomach acid to break down and absorb properly. And as we age, our production of stomach acid, called hydrochloric acid, naturally declines. In fact, by the time you reach your mid-60s, your stomach may produce only a fraction of the acid it did when you were younger. So instead of dissolving smoothly and entering the bloodstream, where it can do some good, calcium carbonate just sits there in the gut. It clumps, it ferments, and over time, it can contribute to a host of unexpected problems. Researchers are now uncovering that excess calcium carbonate, especially when it's not properly absorbed, may settle into the wrong places in the body. Places like soft tissues around the joints, leading to joint calcification, that gritty, grinding stiffness that makes your knees creak and your shoulders ache. Kidneys, where it can form stones or contribute to slow, silent strain on renal function. And even arteries, where calcium buildup contributes to arterial stiffening and plaque formation, increasing the risk of cardiovascular events. So here's the tough truth. You may be taking calcium carbonate to protect your bones, but if it's not getting absorbed, it could be doing the opposite, increasing joint stiffness, kidney burden, and heart risks. It's a classic case of good intentions gone sideways. And it's frustrating, isn't it? Because you followed the rules, you listened, you took the supplement. But no one told you that your aging stomach might not be able to process it properly anymore. Now that doesn't mean calcium is bad. It just means the form and delivery of that calcium matters more than ever. In the next section, we'll explore which forms are safer, smarter, and actually help your bones without hurting everything else. Because your body deserves better than chalk. It deserves real support. And it starts with knowing what works, not just what's popular. So, what should you be doing? Here's the good news. There are safer, smarter ways to support your joints after 60. First, if you're looking for joint cushioning, try turmeric with black pepper, curcumin, a natural anti-inflammatory that rivals ibuprofen in some trials. And when it comes to calcium, avoid carbonate. Look for calcium citrate, more absorbable in low-acid environments like aging stomachs. Vitamin K2 plus D3 combo. This directs calcium into bones instead of joints or arteries. Remember, it's not about more calcium, it's about getting it to the right place. Let's circle back to Harold. Once he ditched the cheap supplements and switched to turmeric and K2 plus D3, something surprising happened. His morning swelling, gone. His energy, up. His stares, conquered. But Harold also made another shift. He added movement back into his day. You see, supplements can help, but nothing replaces motion. Joints are like hinges. They rust when they don't move. Even 10 minutes of gentle stretching or a short walk after meals can flood your joints with fresh synovial fluid, nature's own lubricant. And if you really want to up the game, try this joint-friendly daily ritual. Warm water plus lemon plus collagen powder first thing in the morning. It hydrates, cleanses, and feeds your connective tissue, all before breakfast. Here's another tip you won't hear in most senior health brochures, but it could make all the difference when it comes to your joint pain. Avoid omega-6 heavy oils. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I don't even cook that much anymore. Or maybe, I use vegetable oil. Isn't that supposed to be heart healthy? It's a fair question. For years, vegetable oils like corn oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, and even canola oil were marketed as healthy alternatives to butter or lard. And yes, they're low in saturated fat. But what they don't tell you is how these oils behave once inside your body. Let's break it down. These vegetable oils are extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. Now, omega-6 aren't bad on their own. In fact, your body needs a certain amount of them for normal function. But the problem lies in the imbalance. See, our ancestors ate omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids in roughly a 1-to-1 or 2-to-1 ratio. Today, that ratio is closer to 20-to-1, way too much omega-6 and not nearly enough omega-3. And here's why that matters. Omega-6, when consumed in excess, promote inflammation. Omega-3s, on the other hand, reduce inflammation. So, when your diet is dominated by corn oil, soy oil, processed snacks, salad dressings, margarine, and deep-fried foods, your joints get caught in a chemical tug-of-war. One side is trying to calm the fire. The other is throwing gasoline on it. The result: stiff, swollen joints. Aches that get worse in cold weather. Fatigue that makes you feel like everything is heavier than it should be. And here's the part that stings. You could be unknowingly adding these oils to your meals every day, even in healthy dishes. That homemade soup? Check the broth. Most contain soybean oil. That light vinaigrette on your salad? Probably packed with sunflower oil. Even that healthy granola bar might be laced with corn oil. So, what's the solution? It's not about giving up flavor. It's about swapping smarter. Try replacing those omega-6 heavy oils with extra virgin olive oil, rich in antioxidants and natural anti-inflammatory compounds like oleocanthal. Avocado oil, great for high heat cooking and packed with monounsaturated fats that love your heart and your joints. High-quality fish oil supplements, rich in EPA and DHA, two powerful omega-3s that help reduce joint tenderness, stiffness, and even morning pain in people with arthritis. In fact, one study from the journal Rheumatology found that omega-3 supplementation reduced joint pain intensity by over 50% in older adults with rheumatoid arthritis. And that's just from changing the fat in their diets. So the next time you reach for that bottle of cooking oil, ask yourself, is this feeding my joints or inflaming them? It's a tiny shift, but for your knees, your shoulders, and your hips, it could be the most powerful move you make all week. Getting older doesn't mean falling apart. It doesn't mean you have to live with constant aches, slowing steps, or the quiet dread of what tomorrow might feel like. It doesn't mean watching your independence slip away, one joint, one stair, one pill at a time. Somewhere along the way, aging became a story we were taught to fear. A slow decline, a giving up, a quiet surrender. But what if I told you that story is outdated? Because sometimes the issue isn't your age. It's your inputs, the things you've been putting into your body, your mind, and your belief system. The wrong supplements, the ones that promise support but leave you more inflamed than before. The wrong advice, outdated recommendations that don't reflect the science we know today. The wrong assumptions, that pain is inevitable and strength is something you leave behind in your 50s. But here's the beautiful truth. You're still here. And now you know better. You've got smarter tools at your fingertips. You've got safer choices that honor your body's wisdom, not fight against it. And most importantly, you have the power to make a shift, starting right now with your very next dose, your next meal, your next walk around the block. Because aging well isn't about turning back the clock. It's about turning up the quality of the time you do have. It's about waking up and feeling capable again. It's about choosing motion over stillness, nourishment over habit, knowledge over noise. You deserve to move through your day without bracing for pain. You deserve to laugh without wincing, to stand tall without grinding joints, to trust your body again. And you deserve a version of aging that feels alive, not limited. Because in the end, it's not about how many years you've lived. It's about how much life you still put into those years. And that part, that's still entirely up to you. So here's your quiet revolution. Rethink what you're taking. Reclaim how you feel. And remember, this chapter of your life might just be the strongest one yet. Try swapping those two supplements this week and see how your joints respond. And if you want to know the top 7 vitamins to prevent leg cramps, click here next to watch the video.